in addition to being a Crossroads Fund lifer, that's what they call us, the people who come into Crossroads in one way or another, but we can't ever leave. Never. I've been here longer than Jean, I have to say, right? I'm also a parent activist with Parents for Teachers, a grassroots group, like so many other grassroots groups in our city that works in solidarity, that's right, in solidarity with our Social Justice Teachers Union to fight for just, equitable, and a joyful public education. These are the kind of schools all of our Chicago's children deserve. Every single child in Chicago deserves an equitable and just public education. So before I formally introduce Karen and the CTU, I'm really excited to introduce Malcolm London, resident of the Austin neighborhood, graduate of Lincoln Park High School, poet, educator, participant in Louder Than a Bomb, and inspiration to all of us. Come on up, Malcolm. So, Malcolm's going to perform a piece about his experience as a CPS student, and this is what I'm talking about. The kind of students that our Chicago Public Schools is producing, that our teachers are producing, that our parents and our communities are producing.
I just want to say thank you to everybody in this room. It's always a spiritual, uplifting feeling to be with people who are, doing the work to keep this world right. And I think we all do this work to hopefully, it won't have to be an event where we're honored or you're honored to do this work, but it's just engaged citizens who care about So we're going to do a poem. I have other poems, just for the record, for everybody. So I feel like this poem. It starts off with a quote. He who owns the youth gains the future. Adolf Hitler. At 7:45 a.m., I opened the doors to a building dedicated to building, yet only breaks me down. I march down hallways cleaned up after me every day by regular janitors, but I never had the decency to honor their names. Lockers left open like teenage boys' mouths when teenage girls wear clothes that covers their insecurities but exposes everything else.
Well, preach.
Masculinity mimicked by men who grew up with no fathers. Camouflage worn by bullies who are dangerously armed but need hugs. Classrooms overpacked like book bags. Teachers pay less than what it costs them to be here. Oceans of adolescents come here to receive lessons but never learn to swim. Part like the Red Sea when the bell rings. This is a training ground. My high school is Chicago, diverse and segregated on purpose. Social lines are barbed wire. Hierarchy burned into our separated classrooms, free to sit anywhere but reduced to divided lunch tables. Labels like regulars and honors resonate. Education misinforms. We are uniformed, trained to capitalize letters at a young age, taught now that capitalism raises you, but you have to step on someone else to get there. This is a training ground, sought to sort out the regulars from the honors, a reoccurring cycle built to recycle the trash of this system. I am in honors classes, but go home with regular students who are soldiers in territory that owns them. When did lives become expendable? CPS is a training ground centered on personal success. CPS is a training ground, concentration on professional suits. CPS is a training ground. While one group is taught to lead, the other is made to follow. No wonder so many of my people spit bars, because the truth is hard to swallow. The need for degrees has left so many people frozen. I had a 1.9 GPA. Got drunk before my ACT and still received the 25. Now tell me how I'm supposed to act. Homework is stressful. But when you go home every day and your home is work, you don't want to pick up any assignments. Reading textbooks is stressful. But reading does not matter when you feel your story is already written, either dead or getting booked. Taking tests is stressful. But bubbling in a Scantron does not stop bullets from bursting. Our direction has not changed. When our boards of education are driven by lawyers and businessmen, only one teacher sits on our board. Now tell me, what does that teach you? I hear education systems are failing, but I believe they are succeeding at what they're built to do, to train you, to keep you on track, to track down an American dream that has failed so many of us all.
Crossroads Fund recognizes the CTU for their passion and commitment to our children as educators and as important role models who stand up for what's right. And we recognize Karen Lewis as the sort of leader that we are working to support here at the Crossroads Fund. Someone who comes up through the rank and file, an experienced teacher who knows what is happening in the classroom, who stays connected to teachers, students, parents, and the issues that affect communities every single day. Poverty, race, inequality, discrimination, violence. Karen and the CTU are not afraid of saying what is on their minds and what they know to be the truth. Even Rahm Emanuel doesn't scare them. So now, I'm really proud to present Karen Lewis and the Chicago Teachers Union. Please come on up.
Teachers. Come on, where I saw teachers. People came up to me and said, I teach so-and-so. Where are you? Why aren't you on the stage? Come on now, they're drinking. Come on, let's go! CT who? CT who? I think you need to come back up here. First of all, I want to thank everybody for all the support, all the love when I walked in the place trying to, do the silent auction. I want you to know, I think I got a couple of things. I'd like to thank the Crossroads Fund for acknowledging the work that they do every day and expressing that outward. Activism means something. It means that you don't sit down when you see injustice. It means that you don't turn an eye to issues that are problematic. And it means that you do take a stand. And the word radical comes from a word that means roots. Understand that. 4 years ago, I was in a classroom, minding my own business. Okay, 5 years ago. And someone told me that Jesse Sharkey, the vice president of the Chicago Teachers Union, was starting a new caucus based in social justice. And they were doing a reading, a book club. That's how I got in, because I'm such a nerd, all right? It is what it is. And at that time, what they said was, we want to do union different. And what we want to do is involve the community and our parents. We want to change the way the union actually operates. And one of the people who was there at the very beginning of the formation of the Caucus of Rank and File Educators was a community partner, a Spitfire from Blocks Together named Cecile Carroll. Cecile always had an idea that was just pushing an edge. Why don't we do an action in which we have street theater? Why don't we do an action in which we do whatever it is? And if nobody comes, we don't care. But I remember the very first march we had, maybe we had 40 people? Maybe, I don't even know if it was 40. Maybe we have 40. You might have noticed in September there were 20,000. Work alone, because right now as we speak, people are taking testimony and deciding whether they will close schools in Chicago. This has never worked as a policy. It is shock and awe, and it is designed to destroy certain parts of this city. Do not think for a minute that it's a tough decision to close a school in a black or brown neighborhood. It is not a tough decision to close schools for poor children and pretend that you're doing it for them. That is not a tough decision. The tough decision is going to your friends at the Chicago Board of Trade, going to your friends at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange and saying, guess what? It's time for you to pay your fair share to our city. And Chicago Teachers Union, and probably the National Lawyers Guild, believe that we ought to have an elected representative school board in Chicago. Accountability cannot go in one direction towards kids. The idea that decisions are made on the backs of very small children should be a wake-up call to us all. And I will tell you The Chicago Teachers Union, under this leadership, will never stop standing up. We will never stop questioning. And I will also tell you, we already know who the winners and losers are. That's fairly easy to figure out. But what we always have to remember is who made the rules to the game. Because whoever made the rules to the game has an advantage. But we must take this one step farther. What are the stories the winners tell the losers to keep them playing the game? I'm going to shut your schools down and give you something better. They haven't done it since they started it, and they're not going to. Do not believe the hype. Let's fight it. Thank you.